If you have always wondered how watercolor artists create the misty effect in their landscape paintings, this is the tutorial for you. Here is a list of today's materials. Now let's mix up some colors and get started. In my palettes, I'll have some clear water at the top, and then I've got a blue and red mixture creating a gray tone. And then at the bottom, I have some greens for later, a light green and a darker green. And I start with a number 12 brush all across the most distant mountain range and the sky. And then I lay in some of that light grey mixture for the sky. The sky is not imposing, it's very subdued on purpose for this painting. And then we dry that off with a hairdryer. As you can see, it's very light in the sky. Then still with your number 12 brush, we lay down water over the whole of the most distant mountain range right up to the peak and down to the top of the next mountain range. Still number 12 brush, drop in some of that light grey mixture, starting at the top, and let it slowly fuse down. And remember that our board is always at a slight angle, sloping from the top to the bottom about 25-30 degrees, which enables the pigment to slowly creep down the paper in a controlled fashion. And that is especially useful for creating these misty effects on mountain ranges. And then I use a number 6 brush with a nice fine point into that darker mix of the blue and red. And you will see at the very top, I've purposefully shown some little indications of trees, the tops of trees at the top of the mountain range, rather than just a straight line across. And just continue with that. And you can see me occasionally using some tissue to take off excess amounts of pigment. That is how we maintain control. Often you'll lose control if you have far too much water and pigment on your brush when laying down these washes, wet and wet, etc. Then that has been dried off with a hairdryer, and you can see at the bottom, the base of each of those mountain ranges there, we're creating that nice misty effect. Same process, lay down the water first, then we've gone to our number 6 brush and we're laying down that light grey mixture, and we're just letting that slowly come down, just forcing it down a little bit but not too much, and making sure it stays light. Then again into the darker mixture right at the peak of that second mountain range, dropping that in and indicating some tops of trees again. Using the tissue to take off excess fluid, using what is already on the paper to continue the remaining part of that second mountain range. So not dipping into more fluid, and just bringing that down slowly so that we have that misty effect towards the bottom of that second mountain range, making use of what we already have on the paper. And then it will be a repeat process for those next 2 mountain ranges, so I won't need to describe that. If you are enjoying this tutorial, please click the like button or leave a comment below. I do read every one of them, and I will always try my best to reply to your questions. That's the 3rd one complete. Now we're going on to the 4th one. trees at the top of the nearest mountain range will be more prominent, as I'm indicating now. Still using a number 6 brush, just pushing up with that fine point and then letting it fuse in. Right, now we come to the middle distance and foreground. Once again, liberal use of clear water on that bottom section, all the way across. And we've got some of the mist again coming in, the misty fill with the light grey. Using our number 12 brush, just blending that in into the clear water. Then dropping in a few indications of trees in the mist at the tops of this nearest part of the landscape. And as we go along, I'll shape those up better. I just did upward strokes with those with a brush to indicate them, and then come along later and shape them so they look more like trees. I'm purposefully showing them at different heights here and there, and some with little gaps and so forth to keep it more interesting. Same process, indicate them with lines at first and then shape up those trees. Once again, still using this same bluey grey colour, which is very useful. Not many colours for this one. We'll be coming on to some greens later. As another way of lifting, you see me, I have a thirsty brush and I'm running along the bottom there, mopping up a little bit and using the tissue. Right, we're coming on to the middle ground and foreground now, and we've got our green mixtures, a light one first of all to indicate a few of those trees. I would lay down the light colour first and then the dark and shape those up accordingly. And the various branches, some are pointing up, some are pointing down, some of the trees have gaps, as is the case in nature, to keep things realistic and as interesting as possible, instead of everything being regimental and exactly the same, etc., which is not exactly the case in nature and would make for a boring painting. This is much more interesting this way. I'm still able to use this number 6 brush because it has a very fine point. So it's relatively new, it hasn't worn down. You may find if your brush is not that good a point, that you may resort to a smaller brush, number 4 or number 2 even. So I'm now mixing up some of the Windsor yellow in that top pan there. And we lay down some clear water across the whole of the bottom area there, and then drop in the yellow. And whilst that's wet from the bottom, we drop in some of the dark green and bring that up into the yellow. And by bringing it up from the bottom, it will weaken as we draw it up the paper. But you can also add some more yellow as you go along to the top section, as it is a wet in wet process. So keeping it as varied as possible and mopping up the edges so we don't get pools of pigment and creep back where it dries in some areas and stays wet in other areas, and just drying that off with the hairdryer. And that has given us a ground for the middle distance and the foreground, which will receive some further treatment later, but that's an underpainting, and so we can continue with some of those trees now on the left hand side of the painting. Once again, varied, broken, some branches pointing up, some down, etc., etc. Gaps here and there. Keep it as interesting as possible, and as we work our way down, you'll notice that we're able to employ that scraping technique when there is less pigment on the brush, and we're making use of the texture of the paper. So there we are. We've jumped ahead a little bit because it's just a repeat process there of those trees. So we're strengthening up the foreground now, and we're in the last few minutes of this tutorial. So lay down some of the yellow, use your number 12 brush, then dip into your greens and make it varied, leaving gaps here and there on purpose. And this foreground will receive some even further treatment in a little while. Just the first part of the process being completed. Dropping in some more of the yellow, wet in wet. Where the foreground meets that middle ground of green trees, we want that area to be fairly light. Then I'm dropping in some nearby trees, a different type of tree. One where you can very much see the trunks and the various branches, and we'll be scraping on some foliage for those. I got a brown mixture there. Once again, not straight from the tube, mixed up from my primary colours, my yellow, my red, my blue, to achieve a brown colour. And as I do mention in my tutorials, I like to mix up my colours rather than use lots and lots of tubes, so that I end up with a more harmonious feel to the painting. So now I'm using that scraping technique for foliage on these nearby trees, using our various mixtures of green. You can decide what size brush you might want to use for this. Something like a number 6 I'm using at the moment would be suffice, because it carries just enough pigment and not too much. If it was a much larger brush, then I would be getting too much pigment and it would be much harder to achieve the scraping technique. So that's dried off, and I'm laying down some pure yellow here and there to vary the foliage and the change from light to dark. There we are, that's finished, and here's a reveal. I think that's quite effective, and I think you will find that very useful on how to achieve those misty mountain ranges. If you enjoyed this video, maybe give this one a try next. I'm sure you will find it useful.